I'm Dr. Javed Iqbal Kokhar, Professor of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology. As we are discussing the mechanical injuries for the last 3 lectures, and this is the 4th lecture in this series. And we have started our discussion from the previous lecture, the mechanism of wound production. And we discussed that there are components of trauma and which are basically the factors responsible in the causation of wound. And there are physical laws which are related in the causation of wound. So we'll discuss in this lecture the role of force as a component of trauma. First of all, there is application of force. There is always a response and a counter response, and the response is the force applied and the counter response is the resultant wound. So it's the interaction between the tissue and the force. And they are governed by the physical laws, and these are the laws of motion, laws of elasticity, laws of conservation of energy, and laws of elasticity, which is the Hooke's law. So when a force is applied to a mass, the mass reacts in a two-way. The mass will resist the force, and this resistance is due to the elastic properties of the mass. The mass will try to adopt the force or absorb energy, resulting in distortion of the mass. But human body is not uniformly structured. It consists of various types of tissues, and the tissues consist of cells which are arranged in specific order. And whenever a force is applied to the body tissues, its constituent cellular elements are set into motion and are displaced from their original position. With this movement, an elastic force arises within the tissues, and which tries to bring back these cells to their original position under the laws of elasticity. So what states laws of elasticity? It states that the amount of force required to return a distorted mass back to its original position is directly proportional to the amount of distortion. And when a force exceeds the elastic limits of the tissues, it disrupts a part. And the force of impact, whenever exceeds the capacity of the tissues to resist or to adopt, they are torn and there is wound production. And this is according to the Hooke's law. Now regarding the amount of force. The amount of force in the causation of wound is very important. For example, a simple example I gave you, that a stick is struck at a same site on the body, and with very little force, only the erythema will occur. And if we increase the force, it will cause lacerated wound. And with further increase in force, it will cause crushing of the tissues or even fracture of the bone. So with the same weapon at the same site, just by increasing the force, the appearance of the wound is changed. Now the role of velocity in the force. When an object is moving at a definite speed, having a mass, and will have a definite force or energy in it, and which is represented as that force is directly proportional to half the mass and square root of the velocity. So you can see that the force is directly proportional to half the mass and is directly proportional to square root of velocity. So this is important in firearm mechanics, that the bullet being a very small in size but bullet manifests enormous damage instead of brick. Brick is a larger in mass, but the surface area is broader, which is coming in contact with less speed. Whereas the bullet, the concentration of energy is at a single point, the tip of the bullet, and being lighter in weight but much higher in speed, in velocity, brings an enormous damage instead of break. So bullets is speed, is velocity is an important factor. Thank you very much. Take care. Allah Hafiz. In the next lecture, we will continue the topic. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. And this is my channel name, Dr. Javed Iqbal Kokhar. Thank you very much.